Okay, our next speaker is Antonella Tiburzi. Am I right?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. From the Free University of Bolzano, and she will talk to us about the history of women in the Canada Commando in Birkenau from an Italian survivor, a cross search between archive, cards, and direct testimony, which is basically ego documents.
Yes. Thank you very much for this very important and, yes, I agree, necessary conference, because the accounts as well as the documents of the from the Jewish culture are always very important, and they really need to be considered for their importance. So I share my presentation. That's it. Okay, so my presentation is about, yes, about 10 years ago, this only survivor, Italian survivor for the Canada Commando in Birkenau, who decided to tell me about this her personal story, which actually was also a personal account of what she really saw during 11 months in Birkenau during her deportation, during their prison. It's an important history because yes, we know enough about what happened in the Canada Commando and why the Nazis decided to construct, to build such place. But when she started to reveal her personal story, this was a pretty unknown in Italy. I'm personal teacher, professor of history at the University of Bolzano and Brixen in South Tyrol, and my focus was always about the Jewish deportation from Italy to Auschwitz, and also I've collected a lot of testimonies, a lot of accounts, a lot of documents about like letters, like personal diaries and everything. But what really there wasn't at that time was that a personal view of the Shoah actually in front of her eyes of the survivors. As before was already said, also the condition of the women who come back to Italy from Poland, they were not listened. They didn't want to listen to them. They prefer the male account, but not the female account. So that's why she spent a lot of time in try to collect her personal story. But when I first heard, and I let her to my students, we found that it was very, very, very important, and also it was missed such testimony. The testimony is Ida Marcaria, and she was arrested she was arrested in Trieste, which was a former city of the Austro-Hungarian Empire until 1919. And we produced actually two books together. One is only about Canada Commando, and the other one is about Canada Commando and the journey that she spent when she came back from prison, from Auschwitz, from Birkenau, and how she had so many problems to give her testimony about this. So I collected only her oral ego accounts, And then, so I did a compared research in the documents in archive and in other official documents. As you know, Trieste was the city which was chosen by Benito Mussolini in September 1938 for the declaration of racial laws at that time. And this is a personal picture who belongs to the family, also as an account of the family of Marcaria, family Marcaria, and then she gave it to the archives as a official documentation from the declaration of racial laws in Trieste. When we wrote the book together, she really wanted to underline that she was arrested by the Italian fascists who collaborated very, very close to the Nazis. And what really was interesting is that first time until that moment, no one included in his personal testimony the presence of Italian fascists who delivered, as she wrote, delivered the Italian Jewish to the German occupied SS. And so she said that when they arrested them, it was in November 43, so after a few months of the German Nazis occupation in Italy, and she said that they were hound dogs, servant of Nazis, and that they swept in our home, marking our destiny forever. They were not Germans, they were Italians, fascists, 4 policemen. And another unique part of this testimony, of this account, was that to mark also the role of the Italian fascists had in this deportation, so that they arrested them, they plundered everything they found in their homes. And then she talked about, of course, the period in the prison. It was like a German transit station, always in Trieste. And then how they have been delivered to the Nazis, and the Nazis deported them to Birkenau, to Auschwitz. What it was very, very interesting is that the fact that she also gave us a list of names of fascists who arrested them. And this was really, really unknown that period when they collected information about the deportation. This was Ida, on the left, and on the right is Stella, her sister. And these pictures, as an account, as an iconographic source, were taken just 1 week before the arrest, which was in 44. Before the deportation to Auschwitz. And there's, I give you a small map of where they lived and then where they arrived. So the first account that she gave us about the Canada Commando is about the selection. Okay, she gave us for the first time the story of the Jewish resistance at the Judenrampe in Birkenau, when she said that a man approached us, looking him around, and he asked us our age, and then he ordered us to say that we were, of course, older than how old we really were. And so there was a male section. This man came from the male section of the Canada Commando in Birkenau. And actually she said that maybe this man rescued our lives because they lost 26 members of their family just in this first selection. And so they went to they were sent to the Canada Commando. And she said that, yes, it is a world far apart, the real world. And from her ego accounts, we can have really an historical also reconstruction of the section of Birkenau's Canada Commando. How it was the selection of the women, which kind of women could work for the Canada Commando, and where they came from, which kind of women could be. They were single women, they were not married, or they were also mothers, but their children were eliminated immediately after their arrival. So she described exactly which kind of women they found in the block, and she said that they were German prisoners with the black triangle, and she was moved from the block number 22 to the block 7, which was the last block that in which she were, and separated from her sister. And then also always thanks to the German women, German Jewish women, they were reunited after some days, always in the Canada Commando. About the way in which the women they were treated, in which the men were considered, we have to consider many aspects of this. Before she described that how was formed this 30 blocks. She said that there were 300 women in every block. And then she said that in the storage, as you know, the Canada Commando was the blocks in which the Nazis in Birkenau, they storage everything, every belonging to the Jewry who were deported to this Nazi camp and Nazi concentration and extermination camps, and then they have to store it, they have to put in order, and then they have to deliver, but only the very important things to the Germans. And then she said that mostly Jewish women came from East Europe. They were from Slovakia, from Poland, and she often remembered these very young women from Greeceland, from Greek, and she said that it was the only woman with whom she could talk and she could speak some words. And then she said that the Capo organized the prison. She said that she was someone gave her a red kerchief and on the head, and it was like a uniform for the work at the Canada Commando. But by the time, she said, she always told us that they could have in their hands actually the history of Jewish European history through object, through clothes, through also money, through personal, actually very personal object that belongs to the people, to the Jews who were close to be destroyed. And so I found very few also pictures of women at the Canada Commando. There are many other pictures of the men, of the male section of the Canada Commando. I found these pictures that are also in Yad Vashem, but also in Bada Rolzen archive, and also in the source is also the Central Archive in Germany, in Berlin. Okay, how was the treatment of the women of the Canada Commando? She said that you could survive only through to steal and to theft. And then she said that every day someone died, some women died because they lost their humanity. They were of course, object of violence of the SS, but also from the Kappa of the single blocks. And also she remembered that in August 1944, they were asked to give blood, also to give blood for the German soldiers who were at the front. Okay, and so this is very, very important, because I found also this only in the one small document as a source at the German archive, in which they said that they need for blood also for the German soldier. And so she said that the bestial brutality, the loss of humanity of the prisoners was really persecuted by the Nazis. And also we were searched in our bodies with the aim to find something precious that we could hide in our body. And so it was violent. At the same time, it could mean, of course, surviving or dying, of course, or to be murdered in the camp. What about the forced labor in Canada Commando? It was a daily work, every day, 7 days and 7 days. And the work, but depended of the transport that arrives in the camp. Of course, in the period in which the train were continuously arrived in the Canada Commando, they have to work day and night without any kind of stop, because they have to collect all these objects. And they had the typhus and the other infection. From cattle trains, we received a lot of objects of lives close to be destroyed. And the SS came in the blocks as hawks when they wanted to take also gold thieves. So the Nazis we were interned that period, and when they arrived, the big transport from, especially from East Europe, they knew that they could find something precious. So they arrived immediately in the blocks and to take everything they could think it was important. But at the same time, also she reveals another phase, a very important phase of Jewish history. So the Jewish resistance of these women, in particular, where the resistance was to boycott. For example, when she told me that she put in the fire a lot of money. She put in the fire a lot of precious things, because she didn't want to deliver to the Nazis soldiers, Nazis SS who were in the camps. They tried to hide money, medicines, and other important goods for the other destinations. So to try to help also other prisoners who were in the camps. And also they have to be very silent, of course, in the case the SS or the Kappa came in the blocks to ask about this. So she said the girls of the Canada talked with their eyes. When we received the supper, we have to clean very careful the cans, and so the other woman hid cigarettes, medicine, and everything it was necessary. We covered everything with towels, and then they delivered to the other prisoners in other block. This was an important story, because only later I found also in historiography the role of the women in the resistance in the Birkenau, and how important this was. Another, of course, focus of this account is that as you can see, I put before the map, as you can see the block number 7, this is the Canada Commando. It was very, very close to the gas chamber number 4. Okay, as you can see, this is the block number 7. This is the gas chamber number 4 and number 5. And this was, of course, the crematorium. So she could see really very close to their eyes what was happening. And she said that our blocks bordered crematorium number 4, and we saw all these human beings going to be exterminated in the gas chamber. So mother with babies in their hand, newborn. And we saw also how the sick people, the people with disease, have to approach this area. And so also she remembered a very important aspect, so the qualitative, the personal story of the Jewish culture, which was annihilated in Birkenau. So she remembered that she saw a person that she knew in Trieste, which was Vittorio Acco. And she said that when there was an action at the crematorium, we were locked inside, and our blocks was closed also for days. Okay, what they have seen? They have seen also the most important extermination of a biggest extermination. So the extermination of the Gypsies of August 44, the revolt of Sonderkommando of October 44, and also when she said the arrival of Hungarian Jewish. She said our eyes saw children burned when the crematorium was full, was in action. She saw that the children were burned in mass graves before the eyes of their mother. She saw really, because she was very close, the transport from Hungary, from Greece, and also from Italy. So the transport for the biggest transport to Birkenau. When I did my research also in the archive, not because I didn't believe, of course, in what she told me, but because I wanted to have also documentation about her account, ego account. So I found just this in a Bader-Olsen archive, but this is only about her brother. The other survivor, she survived together with her sister, and this is about her brother. It was Giacomo Marcaria. He was a butcher, kosher butcher in Trieste, and this is the date in which he could see the liberation. But Ida and her sister were forced to do the death march. So they were liberated in Malkov, which was a sub-camp of Ravensbrück, and so they could be liberated. And this is the only document that I've found is about her brother, Giacomo. This is a picture after the liberation, some few years after the liberation. And when I have written these two books, I try to insert in the books the fact that Canada Commando women came from all Europe, that they saw actually the asset as the destruction, the Shoah, really the Jewish catastrophe in front of their eyes. And there is a very important also at the same time gender page of history, because they were all women, and they saw what they have seen in the Birkenau. And so also it was also a known page of a Jewish history, a Jewish resistance in the European history. And I conclude to say that it was a complexity of history, but from a personal, not point of view, but from personal experience, which was a direct testimony of Shoah. And then also by the time it was difficult for her, because they didn't want, Italy was not ready to listen to this such important, a precious history of Shoah. And so it was an unknown memory of this story. And then I conclude. Thank you for
Thank you very
that.
much.